and welcome to the Evangelistic Faith Missions podcast. We're here to introduce you to Stephen and Yvonne Delong, who have been placed under appointment by EFM to go to Bolivia as missionaries. And we'd like you to get to know them just a little bit and understand who they are. So, Stephen and Yvonne, I understand that both of you were saved when you were relatively young. So tell us about what ages you were saved at and how that happened.
I can't say I have a particular age, but I know from a child I've always wanted to serve the Lord, and my parents were involved, of course, with mission work most of my younger life, and it was a prime opportunity to share Jesus with friends that I made and people that we worked with in the church. But I'm very thankful that even from a very young age that God spoke to my heart, and I've always wanted to serve Him and do what He wants me to do.
Amen.
Well, my mother was afraid that I would never get saved. I was around 5 or 6 years old, and she was afraid I would be a heathen the rest of my life. But also at a young age, 5 or 6 I think it was, I remember a revival service. The Lord spoke to my heart and I went forward, and since that day I can honestly say I've never wanted to do anything but serve Jesus.
Amen. Well, if you've always wanted to serve Jesus, both of you, apparently from a very young age, what would you say about your missionary call? Is there a particular time when you sensed that God was directing you to go to a mission field?
I guess growing up on the mission field, it's, there's that saying you want to be like your dad or your parents or somebody else. That's kind of what I always wanted to do. But in particular, as far as a calling, I guess I'd point back when I was in college. I really felt like the Lord was leading in that direction, and I've just been trying to be faithful to do whatever He asked me to do.
Okay.
And I, raised in a pastor's home, saw ministry in action, and my parents involved us in the work, and I knew that that's what I wanted to do with my life as well. And in my teenage years, particularly, I remember God impressing in my heart that He wanted me in some kind of ministry. And later, after I met my husband and through college, as the Lord started opening doors, He started speaking to me as well, and I realized that was the direction He wanted me to go.
Okay. So both of you are talking about wanting to serve the Lord from a young age. Was there a particular event or a particular sermon or something that turned your attention from, let's say, pastoring to a foreign mission field?
I remember loving to go to missionary services, sitting there and crying, and many times, even as a teenager, saying, God, if this is your will for my life, I'd love to go do that. And I think that God was using that at that time to speak to me, even as a young teenager, that giving me a desire for missions and to serve Him in a foreign field.
Okay. So to a great degree for both of you, it's been more of a step-by-step following the Lord, and it's just developed into wanting to go to the mission field. Okay. Well, thank you for being with us for this Evangelistic Faith Missions broadcast, and we're happy that you joined us to hear from Stephen and Yvonne Delong, and we look forward to your joining us again next week when we continue our conversation with the Delongs and talk a little bit more about their going to Bolivia.